Oh, what is going on, everybody?
Hey!
It is Pixaparters here, and welcome back to Phoenix Wright Dual Destinies.
Listen to this music, man.
It's the intense music. We're getting into this. When we left off, we were halfway to victory.
We were about to get, not guilty towards Prosecutor Blackwell and Athena.
Well, Prosecutor Blackwell got his thing done, but Athena, it just had to be ruined by the comeback kid of all ages, Apollo. Again, no. What? Okay, we need explanations
why did this kid
here.
come back? What is he?
All right.
I say kid, but he's like our
crowd's
age.
going nuts.
Mr. Justice, please explain yourself.
It's very simple. There isn't much to explain.
Yes, there is.
The defendant, Miss Athena Sykes, might not be innocent.
Apollo, what the?
What are you talking about? The case from 7 years ago has been settled. I'm not talking about the past here. I'm talking about the present case.
Apollo!
It's still not clear who killed Clay Tarrant.
He wants justice for his friend, and her prints were on that lighter. That's right.
Yeah, he's on a whole new path.
Why would you? So when she's still here in this setting, he wants to address it, which makes sense.
Yeah. Miss Sykes, please listen quietly to what I have to say. What in the world is Apollo trying to do? Your Honor, please allow me a little of the court's time.
But this is a trial for the case from 7 years ago.
Ms. Blackwell, I'd like to ask a favor of you. Just as you lost someone close to you, I lost someone close to me too. I'm sure you want to know the real truth of what happened as much as I do.
Apollo. Sure, I'm all for the truth. Now let's see you expose the princess's guilt. Judge, I give my permission. Continue with the trial.
Oh boy.
But very well. Is that all right with you, Prosecutor Edward?
I mean, I wasn't ready for this, but the prosecution has no objections. Let's hear Mr. Justice's testimony. I'll have the police investigations report brought immediately. Not you too, Edgeworth. I really hope it's because you have something up your sleeve.
Very well. The opening statement, please, Prosecutor Edward.
As you wish. Let's review the case of the murder of Mr. Clay Tarrant. Okay. It was made clear in the previous trial that Solomon Starbuck was not his killer. Therefore, the true culprit was someone else. On that day, this culprit waited for the astronauts to board Lounge 1 when the two men made their escape out of the Space Museum. The killer attacked Mr. Tarrant with the same type of knife that was used 7 years ago.
Ironic.
The murderer then escaped in the Space Museum. Next, Director Yuri Cosmos switched the launch pads. After that, the culprit exited the Space Museum and escaped via boarding Lounge 2. Therefore, this trial must make clear who Mr. Tarrant's true killer was. In other words, we must discover who it was that escaped through the Space Museum that day.
Thank you, Prosecutor Edward. Mr. Wright, is the defense ready?
No.
Yes, Your Honor. I'd better rearrange my evidence.
Hey.
Alright, everything's swapped around. So I'll have like the lighter and shit, I assume?
Yeah.
Now then, Mr. Justice, your testimony, if you please.
Let me look at what we have here. Okay, so we got knife, hope capsule,
Still have her earring for some reason.
the psych profile, Tarrant's autopsy report, the security camera thing, that's back. We got
the
Launchpad 1 door lock.
Back.
We got Aura's statement, the prep had a lighter with an Earth emblem on their left hand. That one, a knife in their right. There's the lighter. Hey. Emergency ladder. Interesting to have that there. And the phony phantom bomb. Okay.
God, just when I thought we were in the clear.
Nope. Apollo Justice accusation.
He's on a freaking warpath though. Like
Yeah, he is.
He wants answers.
Yeah, he does.
No matter who the fuck did it.
Nope. I suspected Miss Sykes of the murder of Clay Tarrant. My growing suspicions were confirmed when this incriminating evidence presented itself. In addition, she's the only one who could have utilized the launch pad switch to escape. That is why I wish to indict Miss Sykes on the charge of murder.
Damn. He don't give a fuck. He don't give a fuck.
Yeah, well, Athena ain't coming back to the office after this if Apollo stays around.
Oh my god.
Order! Order in the court! Mr. Justice, you realize you are charging your own co-worker with murder, don't you?
Yes, Your Honor, because that is the conclusion my investigation has led me to.
But Apollo, why? How could you suspect me too?
Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. I don't
Jesus.
get it. Just what do you find out over the past few days to make you think this?
For real, what made him believe enough to indict her? Like, it takes a lot to get Apollo to, you know, grasp onto something with this much determination.
Yeah. What's this whole
What the
she's-
heck did he find? I mean, besides the lighter.
Yeah.
But, like, what else?
What does he mean by she's the one who could have utilized the launch pad switch to escape?
Because she used to live there.
Isn't it possible that
she'd
someone
know
else
about it.
used that same
Maybe.
escape route? I'm afraid not, Mr. Wright. Why not? Recall there's a security camera in boarding lounge 1 aimed at the launch pad door. It's the camera that captures Mr. Terran and Mr. Starbuck. But there's also another security camera in boarding lounge 2.
Okay.
It recorded Mr. Terran's killer, or rather, Miss Sykes, coming out of the Space Museum. A camera in boarding lounge 2? First I've heard of it, but it makes sense. Nina said she had snuck into the Space Museum the night before the incident. And that was overcome and passed out until around noon of the next day.
I was out until about noon of the next day. I didn't even know about the explosions. When I woke up, nobody was around, so I just went out into boarding lounge 2.
Must have been the camera capture. Whoops, boot my microphone. And that's when Apollo suspected her even more. But wait a minute. In that case, it smelled like they recorded the true culprit as well. That's a negative on that one too, Mr. Wright.
I've never seen that look.
In the footage taken after the incident, Miss Sykes is the only one who appears. But why? Oh no.
Order in the court.
That can't be. But if it is, then it's incredibly incriminating.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't it you who proved the previous trial in the way the true culprit escaped? It was via the Space Museum after the pads had been switched. The fact you previously proved turned on its ear, leaving your client high and dry. I must say, that is vintage Phoenix Wright.
Vintage. Ah yes.
Let's talk about the lighter. That's the lighter that was found in the Space Museum with her fingerprints on it, right? But even if it seems decisive, there must be other facts we don't know about it yet. If that's so, go ahead and prove it then.
Damn.
Look, honestly, I don't want to believe it's true either. But Miss Sykes was the only one who was in the Space Museum at the time of the murder. But Mr. Justice, Miss Sykes had absolutely no motive to kill Mr. Terran. 7 years ago, Miss Sykes lived at the Cosmos Space Center. It wouldn't be strange if she hadn't some kind of connection to him. Besides, people sometimes kill for motives we can't even imagine. I know you've seen plenty of cases like that in your own career, Mr. Wright.
His happiness levels gave me too many headaches. I had to end it.
I still can't believe this. How can you actually suspect Athena, Apollo?
Yeah.
Why? What first made you suspicious of Miss Sykes?
For real.
Oh god. It all started Miss Sykes and I were investigating the crime scene. When she saw the weapon that killed Mr. Terran,
Oh, sorry.
my bracelet reacted. She said she'd never seen the knife before and the bracelet told me otherwise.
That's because she probably used it when she was a kid.
And then every time after that, my bracelet would react when she talked about the case. Poor Paul must have been beside himself during that investigation. I didn't know what to do or think. I couldn't even sleep. In that condition, I knew I wouldn't be any good in court.
So that's why he left.
So I decided to wear an eye patch so I wouldn't be able to perceive any of her tells. So that's why Apollo was acting so strangely. But the reason Miss Sykes unconsciously reacted to the knife that way is because she stabbed her mother's murderer with one identical to it 7 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I said.
But that knife was also the murder weapon that was used to kill Clay Terran. My bracelet could have also reacted to her because she knew she was the killer too. I guess he has a point. But my bracelet wasn't the only reason I became suspicious of her. And then there's the lighter.
All right, my thing that I was observing.
Yes.
Apollo and Phoenix, very similar voices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're doing at the same time.
Yeah.
Edgeworth and Blackwell, very similar voices that you're having to do at the same time.
Yeah, I'm well aware.
You're probably not having an easy time over here.
I'm doing my best over here.
I
I'm
can
doing my
tell.
best. Believing your client to the end is a basic principle of good defense. Shouldn't you extend that same principle to your own coworker? You're probably right. Maybe I'm not even fit to be a lawyer. However, I don't care. This case is special to me.
Understandable.
Clay was my friend, and that is why I just have to know the truth. Apollo suspected his trusted coworker killing his friend. To dispel his doubts, he investigated on his own, but they only led to more doubts. Apollo must have been really struggling with this. Well, Apollo may have doubts, but I'll say it again. Athena Sykes isn't the murderer. Then I have only one thing to say. Evidence is everything in court.
Damn.
Well, Mr.
He
Wright,
pulled that move.
think you have the concrete proof to knock down my arguments?
He pulled the prosecutor move.
Your arguments have been very clear, Mr. Justice, and your facts appear to be indisputable.
Well, Mr. Wright, what do you think of my theory?
It's just a theory.
A game theory. A theory in a game, prick. Whatever, how you want. I had to be nice because your mother is a friend. God, whatever. Looks like not even you can deny it. Miss Sykes was the only one who used the only possible escape route. Under these circumstances, there can be no other suspect with the defendant. Unless you think there was an alternative escape route? Is that what you think, Mr. Wright?
Is that what you think, Mr. Wright?
Is that what you think, Phoenix? Was there an alternative escape route?
The trash thing, right?
But the point is that we have to trust what Cosmos said, and he saw them run in back into the room, and yeah, they saw him run back into the launch pad. And it cuts off directly at the beginning of the hallway. So, I mean that. Did I save? I think I saved. I don't even know why I'm saving. Oh yeah, I saved because there's a choice here. I mean, the only way to say no way is if we're gonna say like, oh, they waited there until like 2 days later. They're probably waiting there right now, sitting there in the tippy top of the rocket, the tippy top of the mountain. We're only halfway there. Okay, of course there was. Yes, of course there must have been. Just don't ask me what. You're just bluffing again, aren't you?
Called out.
Me? Bluff? No way. He knows me too well. Shit. It's fine, Mr. Wright. Even a bluff would suit me just fine.
Jesus.
As long as you can
Oh.
clear up this doubt inside me. Wait. So is that what this is all about? I want to believe in Athena. I really do. But what is faith without doubt? That's why I need to question her guilt. So that once the truth finally comes out, I can really fully trust her.
So that you can really trust me?
Huh. This is a weird fucking turn of events. Seems your junior partner has just showed us what trials are truly all about. I believe you're right. We prosecutors painstakingly question every detail in pursuit of the defendant, while we lawyers believe and defend our clients to the end.
When both sides go all out against each other, that's when we discover the truth.
Precisely. And when the battle is over, we will understand the true meaning of trust. That's exactly what trials are about. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Yes, I couldn't ignore the seed of doubt that was growing inside me. So I decided I needed to face it head on. No matter what the truth is that's waiting ahead, I won't be afraid. That's so like Apollo, always uber earnest about things like this. Mr. Justice, I vow to dispel every last bit of doubt in your heart. Good, because I want to believe Miss Sykes again.
Aw.
You're really hoping there was an alternative route, aren't you, Apollo? But if I use the process of elimination, there really aren't many possibilities.
No.
Dr. Cosmos is at the southern exit.
Oh, the emergency ladder. They could have used it to go anywhere.
Well, the thing is that the emergency ladder was the floor above, because it came from the robotics lab. That's where the ladder is, and where Aura came down from. Unless at some point later they could have popped the window open and gone out, but I don't think that's the case. Right, leaving only the control room and the corridor to the Space Museum. Which door could the culprit have escaped through? Come on, Mr. Wright, where do you think the culprit escaped to? Well, the control room could have only been Yuri, because he's the only one that had access to that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the only two things we can say are the Space Museum corridor or the trash chute, as we've said. But
yeah,
I'm gonna say I guess right now they're singing either or, so I guess we'll pick the Space Museum corridor as the de facto like what it should be. They really only could have escaped to the corridor of the Space Museum. All they had to do was use the unconscious Mr. Starbucks Prince to get through the door. It appears that all you're trying to establish is Miss Sykes' guilt. If the culprit used that route, the only exit would have been into boarding lounge 2. The logical conclusion of your argument is that the killer is none other than the defendant.
and
I knew it! It's the only way it could be, huh? If the culprit escaped into the corridor that leads to the Space Museum, then I guess it's true, the only exit would have been into boarding lounge 2. But Miss Sykes was the only person captured by the boarding lounge 2 security camera. I investigated the crime scene thoroughly, but the only places the culprit could have escaped to was the Space Museum corridor. There weren't any other secret corridors or anything. So that leaves us with no other conclusion to draw but that Athena Sykes was the culprit. What could the answer be? Was there really no other escape route? But, hold on a second. What if? Okay.
they went to space.
Where do those
the
mysterious leaves we saw in the
leaves.
corridor come from? What if they're a clue to the culprit's real escape route?
Were they from the trash chute?
I think it is possible the culprit escaped into the Space Museum, but then came out using a route other than into the boarding lounge too. Duh?
Oh my god, why did you make him sound like that?
Whoa.
Eh?
Launchpad 1 is
Stop! Oh my god.
That bit's over with. Okay.
You need
Launchpad 1 in the
sleep.
Space Museum were switched after. I need brains. Were switched after the bombing, meaning the Space Museum corridor was moving along the rail at the time, which is exactly when an alternative escape route opened up for the culprit. Are you kidding me? Huh. Judging by the intense look in your eyes, I take it you're serious. Very well then, Mr. Wright. Do tell.
Where could the culprit have gone from the museum corridor besides boarding lounge 2?
Okay, are we gonna say to the launch site? Is that what we're going for here? Because I mean, if it's rotating, if it's all rotating like
I
don't. Because I mean, well, we found the leaves in Launchpad 1, didn't we?
Yes.
They're in Launchpad 1 corridor, not the Space Museum corridor.
Right. Yes. So. Launch
Okay, so I guess
pad.
my two guesses would be the Launchpad or to Launchpad 1.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Launchpad 1. Sure.
I'm gonna go full bore ahead. I see, so you're saying that the Space Museum corridor leads to a spot somewhere in your head?
Oh.
What must it be like being Phoenix Wright? What? After all, this alternate escape route seems to exist only in your mind. Well, I think I might have a beautiful mind. Perhaps we better shut the security door on that corridor tightly. Say your ridiculous delusions don't seep out onto us.
Yes, shut it and lock it too.
Much about when the Space Museum were switched after the bombing, meaning the Space Museum corridor was moving along the rail at the time.
Moving along the rail.
Which is exactly when the alternative escape route opened up for the culprit. Please let me try that again. Okay, I'm still... Fine, just don't exhaust all your mental capacities while you're at it.
He's talking to you.
Okay, so then it's going to be... I mean, I'm gonna save this time, but I mean, then I guess it is the launch site?
But launch site's not even on the map.
Or this area? Because the only thing that we're going along is the fact that it rotated.
All that's showing there is that's where it goes.
I'm gonna say this
launched.
general area.
What?
We found something odd while investigating the museum corridor this afternoon.
Oh, well, never mind.
Namely, a few dead leaves
It's so
on the
weird
floor.
for him to say this afternoon when we did that like days ago. You know?
For real. Considering where dead leaves come from, they point us to exactly where the culprit escaped to. Yes, I remember seeing some leaves myself. Do you mean...
Whoa, that was new.
That was his confused face.
Yeah.
Yep, while the Space Museum was in motion just beyond the corridor safety door...
What?
Was an alternative place that the culprit could use to escape. I assume they're gonna... Instead of jumping 3 stories to the ground, I'll assume they're gonna say it was trying to aim for the escape ladder. In other words, the culprit's real escape route was... the whole shebang. The area outside the Space Center. You're freaking...
Insane!
They just wanted to yeet themselves out of there.
Do you know how impossible that would be? That corridor level's with the 3rd floor. Even if the culprit tried to leap to the outside wall of the Space Center building, they would fall to their death.
They're dead. That's where they've been.
Ordinarily, yes. But after the bombing incident...
It was Tenmataro. They flew. No.
Yeah, the culprit could make use of a certain item. And what item was that exactly, Mr. Wright?
The emergency ladder.
Alright, this is what the culprit used to leap to the outside wall of the main building. Boom! That's why we have it as evidence.
Yep.
An emergency ladder. There's an emergency ladder in the 4th floor robotics lab. And it was used that day after the explosions to help evacuate people.
Yeah, he easily could have just grabbed it.
Miss Blackwell herself used that ladder to escape down the ground level. Recall if the launch pads were switched after the ladder was lowered. Yeet! The corridor would have passed by the ladder while the pads were being switched. And that's when the culprit literally sprang into action. Fucking acrobatic dude.
We got this friggin' Ezio ass motherfucker going.
Fucking get on American Ninja Warrior tomorrow. And leapt onto the ladder. What? Who would have imagined?
Well, wouldn't they go to the Japanese one because they're in Japan right now?
I don't even think Japanese Ninja Warrior exists anymore. I think it's just the American version.
Order in the court. Well, an alternative escape route seems to have emerged.
Poor Matt Midoriyama. Which means someone of the Miss Sykes could have been the culprit, right?
Hey.
Making things up on the fly in an attempt to sway the court again, are we, Mr. Wright?
Stop it!
Your theory has so many holes that put Swiss cheese to shame.
Jesus.
All right, then. Name one. I have your detailed information about the Space Center. According to this,
It's updated. No.
the distance between the museum corridor and the main building during movement is a full 20 feet. 20 feet? You're pulling my leg, right?
They jumped.
In addition, the corridor is 3 floors from the ground, or roughly 50 feet. What's more, the culprit would be leaping to a precarious place. An unstable ladder. Human beings feel fear in dangerous situations. It's basic survival instinct. But the spy feels no fear. An ordinary person would certainly hesitate before jumping. or even freeze in fear and not jump at all. But the culprit had just murdered someone. They weren't in an ordinary state of mind. Nevertheless, why would they have taken that kind of risk? They could have waited for the switch to be complete and escaped to boarding lounge 2. Because there's a security camera in boarding lounge 2. The culprit knew they would be recorded if they left the Space Museum that way. In that case, the culprit could have hidden in the museum until things settled down, and then blended in with all the other people after the museum was opened. That's a good point. No,
Don't say that.
But you claim that despite all this, the culprit took a 20-foot death-defying leap, and all in that brief moment the corridor and ladder passed by each other. That's also a good point. They would have needed a running start while the corridor was moving to make that jump. If the time was off or if they couldn't jump far enough, it would have been instant death. What kind of person would attempt something like that?
A person who would kill someone without
Stop
emotion?
bringing up good points, Edgeworth. God damn it. This true culprit of yours is nothing but a figment of your imagination. Why do you always have to point at every flaw? It's my job. I literally get paid to do it.
Yeah.
Mr. Edgeworth's right. It doesn't sound. That does sound pretty insane. The culprit would have to be someone who feels no fear, like a stuntman.
Like a
But everyone feels fear on some level, right? Wait a minute. Aha! I've got it this time.
They took the anxiety medication. I don't know.
Well, no, it's that we've brought up that they studied the voice of the Phantom, the spy.
I know. I
there
was making a joke.
Oh, sorry.
It was
I could
a
believe there was
joke.
someone who could have used the alternate escape route.
Don't do that.
Oh, can you now? This proves the possibility of a person who could have escaped using the alternative escape route. It's going to be this.
Yes.
It doesn't experience feelings like normal people do. Boom. Not even gonna save. I'm confident in it. What's that, Mr. Wright? This is a certain person's.
Oh yeah,
very
we got
interesting-
this. Came up before he came in the courtroom, so he doesn't know about it yet.
Yeah. This is a certain person's very interesting psych profile.
See, that's actually psych.
Yeah.
Psyche is with the E on the end.
The subject doesn't experience feelings like normal people do. In other words, this person doesn't feel happiness, sadness, or fear.
They're a freak.
You're a freak, man. Doesn't feel fear?
He's like,
But, right. You can't be serious. Without the constraint of fear, he could easily do what an ordinary person wouldn't dare.
Yeah? If you're not afraid of anything, you just do stuff.
Just as you or I could do a broad jump on the ground without the slightest fear. This subject could make a 20-foot leap 50 feet up in the air. He chose this extreme way of escaping without hesitation. So you're saying that to a person without fear? The alternative route would be quicker and eliminate the chance that they'd be spotted?
Yeah.
That's definitely pretty extreme, Mr. Wright.
But was there such a person there at the scene?
Yes, the Phantom, that mysterious shadowy figure that keeps popping up.
Oh dear!
The Phantom again? I knew the Phantom was there behind the scene of the Space Center bombing, but I wasn't sure if he was connected to the murder of Clay Terran as well. However, now it's all clear. The Phantom is the one who not only bombed the Space Center, but also killed Mr. Terran. What?
Yeah, it's what we've been trying
to get at for a while now.
Yeah.
Order in the court! Order, I say! Mr. Wright, please continue!
There were just too many similarities between this case and the one from 7 years ago. But why, you may ask?
But why?
It can only be because both incidents were the work of the same Phantom. So then this Phantom is the one who killed Clay? But who is he? This Phantom has been haunting this case, pulling the strings in the background. Who could this unidentified international spy be? Right, this escape route must have been a part of the Phantom's
really
plan from the
freaking
start.
epic music going on.
As was tricking Director Cosmos into switching the launch pads. The bomb on the second floor is meant to make the elevators and stairs unusable. That's why he gave advance warning and planted the bombs where he did. Yes, I think you're right. Wait, I'm right. But it doesn't explain this one last thing. Phoenix right. That was the joke.
Oh my god. So I lowered my emergency ladder like the detective leading the evacuation told me to. But it was such a pain. Why couldn't they have used the ladders in the other rooms?
The robotics lab wasn't the only room with an emergency ladder. But he couldn't have made that leap unless he was certain which one it would be. So you mean... the Phantom must be someone who knew that particular ladder was going to be used? That's right.
Who could it be?
It's freaking... what's his name? I forgot his name. Hello, Fulbright.
Oh my god.
Fulbright, time the international
Totally.
spy.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Oh, totally.
Wait a minute.
So I lowered the emergency ladder like the detective leading the evacuation told me to. Wait.
But wasn't that Fulbright? Ms. Beckel lowered the ladder after being told to by a detective leading the...
It was him. He was the... Not him being the... I mean, he was the detective. Oh god, Phoenix is dead!
You gotta be kidding me. Did you figure it out right? Do you know who the Phantom is?
Oh my god, did our joke backfire into truth?
Yes, I do. Who is it? Who killed Clay?
No.
Our mystery spy known as the Phantom is none other than...
No. No way.
I'm gonna...
You're just gonna slowly... No.
Bobby, don't do this to me.
How old would he have been 7 years ago?
Like 26.
No.
Are you a national spy? And it's right there. He led the evacuation effort at the Space Center.
Not Bobby Fulbright. No.
I'm
not our wholesome boy.
I'm gonna.
Oh no.
Oh no! It's going straight to a thing.
Oh no.
After the explosions, a member of the staff crossed paths with a certain detective. I was on duty on the 4th floor. It was quite the madhouse, I tell you.
No.
As the detective who was leading the evacuation from the 4th floor, he had a very specific objective in mind.
So I lowered my emergency ladder like the detective leading the evacuation told me to. No.
His objective was to secure his own escape route.
Because she straight up said, why didn't we just use the other ones?
Yeah.
Because it had to be that specific spot.
That's you.
Oh yeah, we lowered an emergency ladder from a 4th floor window and escaped that way. Once everyone... Wait, no. My safety, I made my way down to and headed to the shelter? Oh, it was her? Okay, yeah. I don't remember her saying that.
This is long ago when we first met her.
That's probably why I don't remember her saying
This is a detective you all know.
No.
He's even the lead detective on the current case. He appears to be a very emotional man, but his psych profile says he is without emotion.
Yo, he's the one who gave us the lighter.
He is.
Which led to Athena being accused.
Yes.
Seemingly, like, undoubtedly. So that anything would be as far away from him as possible. And he'd be like, oh my god, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Oh no. What? Are you a psychopath?
Are you a spy?
Well, no, not psychopath. It'd be a sociopath, right?
What are you saying? Do you mean the Phantom is
Detective Bobby's full plate.
Exactly. We're all taken in by his fake persona.
So he's a fucking sociopath.
Detective Fobart's real identity is the Phantom.
He's a sociopath. He's a sociopath.
My God.
That's what. They behave like the way that
Yeah.
they know people would want them to.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
Why you gotta do that to me, Bobby?
That's why that one day he was so
Why you gotta do
cooperative
that
with
to me,
us,
dog?
cause oh my God, no.
Well, I guess next time we're gonna see where the hell this
God.
goes. Oh my God.
Like this is the biggest. This twist is the one that is shaking me the most out of this whole damn series.
I think this is the most surprising twist that I've seen in quite a while.
Like in recent memory. Like
yeah.
what the frickety frackin' frock?
He had us all played like a fiddle, man.
Oh my God, no.
Oh my God.